Hi, my name is Josh, and I'm a watchaholic. Welcome to Horology Insanity. What is up, my watch friends? So, check this out. Well, not this one. This one, Oceanus. If you follow the channel, then you'll know that I've been going down the Oceanus rabbit hole. And honestly, I have been loving it. Casio is my favorite brand. I say it all the time. I love my regular Casios. I love G-Shocks, which are made by Casio, and now I'm getting to experience some of the higher end in the Casio lineup, which is basically these Oceanus watches, and I absolutely adore them. Now, I've done an entire video talking about Oceanus watches, specifically about the couple that I've had. We can link that up here in the corner and you can check out those. I may even have an Oceanus playlist, but what I want to talk about today is the fact that my buddy John was kind enough to let me borrow this T3000. Now, John knew that I was kind of interested in Oceanus. He had this beautiful blue watch and he was willing to let me borrow it. John is one of the friends that we send watches back and forth to each other and kind of just borrowing them in this watch hobby. Now, granted, I've bought several watches from him, but he's a trusted watch enthusiast, even though he's kind of on the other side of the country. It always works out well. And so, yeah, I really appreciate John and him letting me borrow this. Now, check back in the next video because I'm actually going to film the batch of watches that I'm getting ready to send him. And so I've done previous videos like that before where I've kind of loaning watches with friends, that kind of deal. So this will be kind of a follow-on to that, but specifically for the ones that I'm about to send John when I return his T3000 to him. But here's what I wanted to talk about real quick. I got my own. So yes, we have two T3000. The one on the right is mine, the one on the left is John's, and so this one's getting ready to get put into the mail back to him with a bunch of other watches that I'm about to send him so that he can enjoy them for a little while. The one on the right is mine. I'm so thankful and happy to have gotten it. But let's just do a real quick recap on what all of my Oceanus rabbit hole has entailed. So you'll recall in the last video, I focused on this T200 back here, and I like this watch. So now that I've had it for a little bit, can't say forever keeper, but it's definitely a keeper for now. I'm pretty sure this T3000 might be a forever keeper, but I don't know, we'll see. These two are definitely keepers for now. This was the last video I had done, and at that time I had also had the S100, and since then I have gotten rid of, or I really traded it with a buddy of mine, but I traded away the S100, and so in my collection right now are basically these two, the T3000 and the T200. Now, John is letting me borrow his T3000. This one is getting ready to go back to him. And, well, just kind of a funny side story real quick, right? Tangent, okay, tangent alert, but here we go. I had always talked about John giving me dibs to buy this watch if he wanted to get rid of it. But he had said that he didn't really want to get rid of it, at least not at that time. John also was kind of enjoying Oceanus a little bit, and he had picked up or traded with another guy in our group and got an S100. So even though I had this watch technically in my possession, it is his, and so he had this T3000 and the S100 for himself to check out. And he was curious. He said he probably wasn't going to keep them both, and so he was going to see which one he liked better. Now, I still think he liked the T3000 better than the S100. I know that was my experience as well. But shortly after I found and bought this one, John pinged me and offered to sell me his. And I was like, oh man, if John would have caught me 2 days earlier, I'd have just bought John's. I would have paid him and I just would have kept it. But it turns out I found this one and I bought it, and I was like, oh man, talk about timing. But anyway, I think it's all still going to work out in the end. I think John might get this back and maybe have a new honeymoon with it, because I have had it in my possession a little bit longer than maybe I normally want to. John thankfully has been very patient and kind with me, and that's kind of a thing when it comes to these watches, especially when you're doing a channel. I know that anytime I send watches to somebody, life happens, and so sometimes when you're borrowing something, you just got to go with the flow. Usually you turn them around in a reasonable amount of time, long enough for you to kind of spend time with it. With this one, I spent enough time with it to realize, hey, I kind of wanted to buy my own. And so I did that. But yeah, I've had this one for a while because I wanted to film so many videos with it. And honestly, I loved it so much that I was including it in all the videos that I would do. And so that kind of ran long. But anyway, John, if you're watching this, it will have talked in private message. But yeah, this is heading back your way. I'm throwing in a couple of goodies in there. I'm throwing in a whole bunch of watches that I'm going to let you enjoy and experience for however long it is that you want to enjoy and experience them. Oh, and then when you send those back, I think you're holding a couple watches that I bought from you. So that'll be a surprise back to me whenever I get them. Because honestly, sometimes I buy stuff and then I kind of forget that it's incoming. And then when I actually receive it, it's kind of like getting a new birthday surprise. It really is. Kickstarter watches. I don't do a lot of Kickstarter watches anymore, but the couple that I have done, I end up backing the campaign and then I just honestly forget about it. And Kickstarters usually take several months. So yeah, by the time it comes in, it's like, oh, I kind of forgot that I ordered this. Oh, but that's a pleasant surprise. And then you get to have a whole new experience with that. And I don't know, it's fun. It's part of the hobby. I guess we got to just look at all the different blessings for the best that they are. But anyway, so back to my update. I've got two T3000s right now. One of them's getting sent back. I got the S200, but what I want to do real quick is we're just going to roll them up on the screen, and I want to talk about all the ones that I have on my wish list. I do not currently have any of these incoming, but hopefully that will change. Hopefully that will change soon, and I will start to find some of these at reasonable prices and get them in. So let's just roll through. This is my Oceanus rabbit hole mix coming through the pipeline and what I hope to find next. The first one is the OCW S2000, specifically the 1AJF, which is the black with blue accents, kind of like this T3000. They both have a lot going on the watch, but I'm curious about those blue accents. I'm curious to see what they look like in person. This T3000 is such a beautiful shade of blue all the way around. It's kind of like the S200. So this one, you'll notice that they're different shades. The T200 is a little bit darker of a shade, but it is nice and it pops a little bit. But this blue on this T3000 is amazing. So I'm curious to see what the S2000 looks like next to it. So that's my next one. Now, next one in the list is the OCW T150, specifically the 2AJF. Now, this is the light blue, kind of white, kind of ivory pearl. Honestly, I just am curious about this one. I want to see it in person and just see what that looks like. I did a watch recently about mother of pearl dials, and I've been enjoying them. And the one that I liked the most, well, I love my Zelos one, but I was kind of surprised by how much I liked the white pearl on the Signum that my buddy Mark let me borrow. So I'm kind of been on the lookout for that. And I think that this Oceanus might give me similar vibes, So I don't have that white pearl one anymore. Of course, I sent that back to Mark, but I'm curious to see if I can get this ivory, white, pearl blue, light blue, whatever it is on this T150. And I'm curious to see what it looks like in person. What vibes does it give me? That's kind of what I'm going for. And you really don't know that until you see it in person or wear it for a little while in different lighting conditions. And if I can get my hands on one of those, I'll make an in real life video of it too. So that'll help convey that. But next on my list is then the OCW T5000 1AJF. And this one, I want to say the thing that makes me curious about it the most is that it's square. Now, of course, this is still down the Oceanus rabbit hole, but other than the Oceanus rabbit hole, I've been doing a square watch rabbit hole, and I've been thoroughly enjoying that too. I'm going to do a whole follow-up video one of these days soon about square watches. Of course, there's the old Seiko Tank which is kind of based on the Cartier. I don't have the Cartier, right? I don't have the Cartier. And I don't think I'll ever have the Cartier. I don't care that much about them unless I can get like one in on loan or something or borrow it from a friend. But the Cartier Santos, I do dig that a little bit more, but the Cartier tank, nah, I'm good with my Seiko tank. But then, so I ended up also getting a Hamilton, and it's kind of a tonneau shaped case. It's a little square, but that one is like, I would call it Josh size, right? It actually fits my 8-inch wrist pretty well. And so we have that, and then I just picked up a Certina. It was my first experience with Certina. It's a quartz watch, and it's this beautiful shade of gray, I believe. It's a nice watch. Like, for the price, I am really, really impressed with the Certina. I'll do that in another video. But in that whole theme of square watches, other than G-Shock squares, right? I just wanted like square, like metal watches, whether they be automatics, hand wind, quartz, whatever. And I think that the OCW T3000 would fit in that lineup well. Now, again, I don't know how big it's going to be like in person. The dimensions on the square watches throw you off a little bit because it might only be 30 millimeters wide, which otherwise would sound tiny, but because it's square, it could have a lot of wrist presence. So if anybody out there has a T5000, let me know down in the comments. How does it wear for you? How do you like it? How would you compare it and enjoy it with others? I'm curious about that one. And then my top pick, this is probably the next one that I'm going to pick up. My top pick on my wish list for Oceanus is the OCW T200S, but specifically the 2AJF version. So it's going to be like my T200 back here with the blue, but it's going to have a different colored dial. And that is the reason why I want this one. I want it because of that dial. It is a light blue. There's this whole craze right now with Tiffany blue, and I'm going to be honest with y'all, I definitely have been into blue. I had my pastel blue Helios and all kinds of stuff way before this current trend of Tiffany blue has come about because of whatever that Rolex sold for some ridiculous amount or something. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't follow Rolex. I don't know much about them, but I think that's what started this craze. No, maybe it was a Patek. See, I don't do that high-end stuff. Anyway, this T200, the 2AJF, the light blue version, I almost had my hands on one on eBay. So I was tracking a sale. It was used, mind you, but it was in good shape, good enough shape. And the price was reasonable. Now, it was a bid. It wasn't a buy it now. And I was kind of tracking it. Well, here's the way that it worked out. I put in a bid. Here's the way eBay works, right? Every auction comes down to whatever happens in the last 10 seconds. They might set it for a week, and that entire week is meaningless for the most part because it really comes down to what's going to happen in the last 10 seconds. And I'm not even going to get into sniper sites and all kinds of stuff, auction sniper stuff, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, that's really what it comes down to. Well, this auction was set to end on a Saturday. And it was a beautiful Saturday out. And my wife and I said, you know what? Let's go out and do some stuff. Go up, maybe have lunch somewhere. And so we go, and as a result, I do not keep an eye on that auction. And it turns out that it sold. I didn't even set a max bid, so maybe that's my own fault. Maybe I should have set up one of the sniper sites. It sold for less than what I would have been willing to pay for it. So super good deal. And I missed out. Now, here's the trick. It's not all lost because my wife and I had a wonderful day out. And again, when we think about what really matters, it's not that Oceanus. It is the time that I get to spend with my wife and with other loved ones and friends. But I did miss out on that one. So I've got my search engine kind of set, saved searches to let me know if there's any more that pop up. I saw another one pop up that was technically in the price range that I was willing to do, but it was trash. It was beat up. Like, I'm a little shocked that the person was willing to sell it in the condition that it was in because it was pretty bad. So anyway, with that, the T200 2AJF, that light blue, if you have one and you are willing to sell it for a reasonable price, then email me. My email's in the description of every video. So yeah, anyway, been on the hunt, Casio rabbit hole. This is what I've been doing and been enjoying, and it's been fun. Like, I think I'm going to keep down this rabbit hole at least for the foreseeable future because I'm enjoying it so much. I did another video and I talked about it. These things give me like a Grand Seiko vibe, but at a fraction of the price. And I can appreciate that. There are days I think back to my SBGA 387 and I miss it. I really do. But then I remind myself how much that joker cost and how much of my watch budget was sunk into that one watch. And I was like, yeah, you know what? No, I could buy like all the Oceanus on my wish list for less than half of that watch. You know what I mean? Like, I'm currently driving a car that cost a fraction of what that watch cost. Yeah, for real. But anyway, Oceanus is where it's at. I think it's one of the best bang for buck values in the watch industry right now. I really think it is. And so that's why I'm going down here. But anyway, other than the ones that I've listed off, what are your favorite Oceanus models? Drop them down in the comment section. I'm always curious to see more because I never know if I'm going to add another one to my wish list. But these are the ones that I've got down for now. And if you have any of the ones on my wish list, let me know. Do you love it? Do you not like it? Is there something that you only know because you were able to own it and experience it that I may not be able to see, like from the pictures? That would be great advice and wisdom you could share with me having that experience, because I haven't touched any of the ones that are on my wish list yet. So with that, we will call this one to a wraps. Thank you, my friends. I hope you're all doing well. And until we talk again, please remember what really matters, and that's not watches. Keep the insanity sane.